Welcome back to the channel, you guys. This is your girl, Wicked Raider, checking in with you, of course, during this CvC. Definitely have been pushing through to collect a couple of clan rewards. The rewards, I'll say, for, as always, for new accounts, everyone who just started, they're free to play. It can certainly be a push for those early accounts. I think the further you go in, the more so you're trying to push that milestone 6 and of course move up in tiers, which is always great. But as you can see, the clan themselves have been doing amazing. We have been killing it this time. So a lot of good opportunities to work on champion objectives. And I've got to ask, have you guys been pulling amazing champions from shards? I've had some incredible champions added to the roster, to be honest. And my account, I can say, in the last 3 weeks has grown so much as far as champions overall. So this is just one of those videos to kind of catch up, see where we are, set a few goals for the upcoming weeks. There have been so many things pushing out to us, especially when it comes to the fusion. Personally, I can say my account has not reached a point that I'm able to actually go in and really push for champions the way I want. But I definitely have pulled some champions that have been more than interesting, some that I have not seen very many, if any, guides on. So I'm working on a few of those. But in general, still pushing through with your girl Tronda, has not let me down just yet. Have really enjoyed this champion, a champion I just pulled, guys. Pulled this guy last night, Septimus. I don't know if you have worked with him before, but I'm going to say overall, the reviews are looking good. He's one of those champions I definitely want to work with a little bit more, get a couple of trials through with them and just kind of see where he is. But so impressed, so impressed. We had talked about Drake. I mentioned this guy earlier. Have been running him, just building up stamina, building up the points, leveling him up, pushing through. Another guy, Enda Moonbeam. I remember seeing him for Sylvan Watchers. And when I see this, guys, he has 11 reviews. The reviews are not all that great, not life-changing, but to pull him from a shard overall, love the sword, love the sword, love the look. I remember seeing a couple of guys do just overall reviews of all the Sylvan Watchers that have been added to the game so far. Definitely want to dive into his skill level, how he's being used. As you can see, I'm still, just in awe of having pulled this guy last night, but he came to me 4-starred. He is an attack-based champion. So I'm definitely waiting to see where he's going to fall team-wise for me. Still working on Hellfang, which is another one. This guy, I must admit, I'm feeling the scales. I'm feeling it. Have not been a huge fan of the hounds, but this particular Deem Spawn, I mean, y'all, reviews are average. But I'll be honest, when you put him on a team with the right champions, he's pretty impressive. So I'm still running him Bear, of course. Only 57 reviews. I don't necessarily keep up when they add in champions. You kind of see just, oh, this is new, this is coming, and get pretty excited about it. Pestilence is another one. Love how this guy looks. Oh, the aesthetic. The aesthetic is everything on this one. So definitely want to pull him. I know at Knights Revenant, for a couple of my current accounts, it's been really, really difficult to pull champions in this particular faction. So it's nice to pull him and work with him as well. I will be going back for Raf Matab. He's another one. I've seen reviews done on this guy. Was really excited to finally pull him in the Barbarian faction. Have had a chance to put a little gear on him. I've been running him, just trying to build him and 5-star him out. Want to move up a couple of champions to 6-star level, and this is always where it becomes pretty tricky. Sometimes I have to decide if I'm willing to let other champions go that are at the same level, or if I want to run food champions all the way up. And this is where the grind really, really starts. So I think last but not least, when it comes to this particular account, corpulent cadaver is another one. I pulled him before. I've worked with this guy in a couple of situations. He's not going to be a humongous game changer, but in niche situations, this one has really been talked about pretty often. And so I'm finally going to take the time, I think, to kind of build him out and run him in a few scenarios just to see how I feel about him overall. Then she is another one that I just happened to pull. I'm holding on to him because Shadowkin for me has been one of those areas where I don't have a lot of champions that I've actually kept. In Faction Wars, you guys know, eventually you start building out teams just based on their faction alone. Who do you need? Where can they go? And what can they do? Now, the other thing is I did make some sacrifices, and I'll be honest, a few of them I was pretty shocked. On one of my accounts, Dark Aethel and Dark Elhain were two of my absolute favorite login champions. I was looking forward to acquiring them. I mean, they are favorites compared to maybe just regular, good old Elhain when you start your game, or even Aethel. But I'll be honest, the more you play, the longer you're into this, you definitely start pulling champions that change the way you view the game. They change the way you view so many sections of the game. And so champion wise, I feel as though I have quite a bit to work with, kind of finish out my month with, just building and working overall. The other thing is, when it comes to events, with the tournaments and the events going, guys, even at this point at level 48, I'm one of those, just during the day, I will run my multi-battles, of course, but it's not going to be a consistent 8, 10, 12 hours of play each day. There's no way I'm going to be able to sit for that long. And as you can see, there's been a lot of upgrading of artifacts, for example. A lot of us have been running tournament to tournaments. And so at this point, your shard count is pretty low for many of us. The silver count is always a struggle. Holding on to gems has been a push, but I can surely say I can see the difference in my accounts. And so from here, once CvC is up in a couple of hours, there is the overall push, since we are in this 4th anniversary and 4th anniversary events. This one is an ongoing feat. And as you guys can see, it has been some rough going. Being able to complete different events or tournaments hasn't necessarily been my focus. It's nice to be able to hit milestones. A lot of these you would assume, you would accomplish just by going through the game. And I'll be honest, as you can see, this has been going for what, over a week now, I do believe. And yeah, the progress has been kind of slow. I can say that one. I am going in looking for dungeon divers, which is probably one of my favorites at this point. It isn't going to be my largest increase as far as points for CvC as you go to different dungeons, but where we are at this point, I feel as though I can definitely kind of step back just a little bit and start focusing on that next moment. Where does my team really, really need to focus? Guys, if you have not run Faction Wars, if you have not been running Faction Wars, especially during CvC, I am so upset with you. I promise you. Even if you are running level 4, 5, or 6, 200 tournament points every single battle, especially for early game players, you cannot beat that. Think about it. They're giving you 12 keys. If you have the chance to do a super raid, you most definitely will. And the points acquired are more than worth it. I'll say it again, the points acquired are more than worth it. So don't sleep on those opportunities to actually step in and really get some things done the way you want to. I know with Arena, Twin Towers, the different dungeons, even going in through your clan boss and doom, there are so many areas in the game that are calling you each and every time. And I've had so many new players, I mean levels, 10 to 20, who are just trying to decide, where do I start? Where do I pick the focus? I knew early game for me that CvC was going to be one of my favorites. It allowed me to really go in and have that competitive spirit. It was a push. I know, as someone who is trying to be active in their clan, that the next CvC is going to involve personal rewards. So you learn with time, you're going to have more reserves in place, because when personal rewards are on the line, you are going to go through resources like no return if you plan on winning. The milestone areas are a lot tougher. Your competition is a lot tougher. And so I know this time when we lucked up, because I did pull a brand new epic champion, 30,000 points there. I pulled a couple of, a brand new legendary champion. I pulled a couple of new epics as well. So just having those shards available, I wasn't necessarily waiting on an event. I needed a couple of more champions kind of to put in the mix. I want to build out different clan boss teams, and I don't necessarily have the champions that I see in so many content creators' videos. So I'm having to really play skill wise with how can this team best benefit? Who has the skills that go across the board? And so that's where I kind of been. With a lot of us, if you were able to get Deacon Armstrong, if you were able to do Mordecai, it likely was a really good push for you. And that's the other thing you want to keep in mind. Where do you want to lay your focus? Well, we don't have to make this a long one, guys. I just wanted to kind of check in, kind of get a temperature for where everyone currently is with their accounts, exactly what you want to do over the course of these next 2 weeks as we close out the CvC and kind of position ourselves for upcoming events and tournaments. The Fusion has really been pushing a lot of people, and I'm hoping you guys are able to really go in and just acquire those fragments. That's always a big one, always a big one. Let me know in the comments if there's a particular champion that you would love to see a guide of who you haven't been able to find. If I have that particular champion, I don't mind diving in and doing a little bit of work. And hey, as always, if you're looking for a clan, 22WK, we do have slots available. Would love to have you trying to build a clan of 30 motivated members that are ready to get things done. I'll talk to you guys soon, and happy gaming.